I think the hardest part for me, as far as organizing my life and getting things together now, is that I have to get ready for my board certification. So I find myself at conflict with what I want to do and what I need to do. And I'm kind of at a place where I need to combine them, because when I tend not to do what I want to do, it tends to be a problem for me with like my anxiety. My anxiety goes through the roof when I can't do things like go to the gym like I want to go to the gym and spend time with my friends. So that's where I'm at this morning. It's like I'm trying to figure out how I can revamp some things so I can do the things that I want to do, as well as put the time and energy that I need to put into for studying for my board certification. So I'm actually going to revamp my cardio to make half of the time on the treadmill. Not half, but like a third of the time on the treadmill, and then the other time on the stairs. I love the stairs, but I can use like the treadmill time for some reading for my certification, and then I still get my stair time because I love the stairs. So that's one compromise I had to make this morning. I've been up studying, and I realized that I want to cover more content on the day. Like on every day, I wish I could cover more content, maybe like an extra like 5-6 pages. So I think I can accomplish that if when I'm working out, I do a third of my workout on the treadmill, which allows me time to look into my certification book for the new information I need to learn, and then still I get to do the stairs for my cardio. That's where I'm at this morning. And I think if you know me, then you know my personality. Like, I have got to get things done. You feel me? I don't have nobody that's going to save Alicia. Alicia's got to make sure her situation, me and my seed situation, is always in order. That alone drives my anxiety up the roof. And the next thing is I can't lose. So I kind of go through these periods of being extremely focused and really buckling down, because I feel like if I don't buckle down, then I won't get the result I want to get. So that's where I'm at right now in my life, is like really buckling down and making sure I'm doing what I want to do and what I need to do. And that makes my time. I have no time after I incorporate all those things into my day. So that is where I'm at, extremely focused. I've got to get these things done. I've got to accomplish these goals ASAP. Hey guys, so what I normally do is I read the content that I'm required to know, right? I have 150 pages in this book. I have to get through 150 pages before I can start like hardcore learning the information. So I normally go through this book and I highlight everything. I just learned a long time ago that the brain picks up on things that are just highlighted in yellow. So I highlight everything. I read over it, and then I take the important things. You'll see like there's stars here. I got some like side notes here. Like I take those things and I put I make flashcards. That's all I'm doing now. The disorders I'm focused on today are like these bleeding disorders. I don't know if you've heard of them. Like ITP is what I'm on right now. That's when they have like it's a bleeding disorder. It's an acquired bleeding disorder. I'm trying to think the specifics I can tell you about it, because there's a lot to it. And this basically, I focus on like what are general considerations of it, and then like the laboratory and diagnostics. Like basically, as an acute care NP, how would I diagnose it? Which would really be bone marrow analysis. Management, how would I manage it, right? What would I do, in an acute situation to stop the bleeding? Other considerations, like things that we probably or the patient shouldn't do. There's a lot of things the patient can do to avoid bleeding, right? Because the bleeding is hard to control. So we try to prevent that. So like they can't floss and they shouldn't shave. And that's it. So I think I finished most of this. I think I'm now on this side of the paper. So again, like after I read, I go through and I make flashcards. That's what I'm doing now. The tricky part about this is sometimes on the exam, I've been told like they might give you some numbers, right? And from the numbers, I have to figure out the patient's diagnosis. And to be honest, in my program and in most programs, really don't focus so much on numbers because the numbers can change depending on the hospital. Certain hospitals have their own protocol of what they use for numbers. You get a general idea, and that's kind of what they give us here is like a general idea of numbers. So that way when they're laying out the patient to me on my exam and they have a whole bunch of numbers, I'm able to figure out what's going on with the patient. I'm not for sure what a lot of you guys know about nurse practitioners, but they have different specialties. You have some that you'll see like when you go into like a clinic, like a CVS clinic, or you have some that you'll see like when you go into your doctor's visit, like a primary care visit. That's a primary care NP. If you're like in like a clinic or something of that nature, that's probably a FNP. If you're inpatient, like in the critical care unit, ICU, MICU, SICU, whatever, trauma, that's most likely an acute care NP, and that's what I am. So the numbers and stuff at which I'm required to learn, they are stiff. A lot of people always ask, like, why do I listen to music? I can't be anywhere quiet. Not for studying, because I will fall asleep. I'm definitely sleep deprived all the time. So anytime it's silence, my body is like, oh, let's go to sleep. So I listen to jazz music when I study. Took a while for me to figure out what it was that I had to do. To be able to study and to be able to study for long periods of time. In undergrad, I used to sit at the computer and fall asleep like half the time. God willing, I did great. But still, like I used to be falling asleep half the time. It took me some time to figure out what works for me, because everybody's like, oh, you study with music? Yes, jazz. Like, that's what I like. But a lot of people study in silence, but it's not for me. Like, I don't feel intimidated or worried about this exam. The most thing I have to do is make sure I'm allotting the time I need to conquer the information. So you'll hear me a lot of times in my videos say it's a lot. I don't mean a lot as in I can't do it or as you can't do it. I mean a lot as in I have to take the time to learn the information very well. And I just wanted to clear that up.